Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. It's your old pal Shram and Cash Man. That can only mean you're listening to Derby Rocks. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. What is going on, Cash Man? How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. It's once again we're in the busiest time of year for everything going on. So it's exciting though, and it keeps you on your toes. And we're just approaching a long weekend, which maybe is due for we're all due for an extra day off.
You are you are not kidding. It's sort of crummy. We'll get the weather out of the way. We're dealing with some weather. We're almost in June here, practically. And almost in the fourth week of May. And June has just been, or May has just been crummy, and it's been rainy. And I know that they say that's a big part of spring or whatever, but I'm ready for just some sunshine. We're only getting intermittent days here and there where we get some decent weather, decent sun, but it's not enough. The rain's got to stop. It has just been rainy all week.
And cold too, man. We're getting
Yeah, it is. It's like 45 degrees outside or something like that right now. And it's freaking practically June. I'm tired of it, Cash.
me too. Me too. It's like, geez, it's
Global warming my ass. It's cold.
yeah. Well, I mean, the weather is actually playing a big part into what my week is like. So that's for sure what's
Sure,
going on because but man, it's as much as like, oh, good. I don't want to go out and do yard work all day. Man, I'm kind of looking forward to doing some yard
sure.
work. Get me
Yeah,
out
I've had to like squeeze it in between
there.
like
Rain. Yeah.
dealing it with it in the rain. The first time I mowed my lawn this year was raining. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I literally had to like put the baby down in the bassinet and go mow the lawn and kind of try and force him to take a nap so I could go get the lawn mowed before it rained. And even that took far too long because the lawn was so long, it kept shutting my lawnmower off. So it's been brutal, but hey, but it's all right. June's right around the corner. We're gonna get some great days coming up here soon. We are hot off dawn of the Derby. When we get to our weeks, I will discuss a little bit about that. Um, Geez, concussion's a heck of a team, man. Let me tell you what. I am grateful to have been able to watch them play and not have to play against them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we I got to meet the Riot, which was great. Good to meet Matt in person. Nice fellow. Got to talk about our kids. He got to meet Anderson, which was great. I'll tell all this and more when we get to our weeks. But no, it's a great week, and concussion's a hell of a team.
Yeah. 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 From the
Pretty much their
yeah.
Pittsburgh won.
I was gonna say I was watching the games on the stream, and it's like, yow. We do have
Yeah,
playoffs this year, and maybe I'm feeling we're going to see a couple of those teams there. So that's for sure.
I agree, certainly. So it'll be fascinating getting to see how playoffs shakes out. We still got a little bit more of the season left before the final games are set before playoffs. But from there, we'll have North American qualifiers, which is going to be huge. Um, I'm certainly looking forward to that. I know you applied to announce, so we've just got a lot of really good derby happening. We're going to have the World Cup coming up here soon. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
great derby there. We're going to have MRDA, North American qualifiers, and champs in the USA this year, and then there's going to be not in the USA, of course, but WFTDA World Cup. So it's just so much good derby is happening all the time. There's big tournaments happening each week. So yeah, just make sure you're staying tuned, following along. And then, as always, I want to remind you to share your stuff. I forget what league it just was, but or no, it was the Bruise Brothers,
Yeah.
Chicago. They just messaged us, hey, shout us out, send this out there, and boom! By the end of the day, we had their article up on the Facebook, getting some love. So
Yeah. They got
make sure.
they're recruiting. They're recruiting, and they were wanted to let people know they can come and try out. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's awesome. It's like, yeah, that quick, it's like it pops up, and it's like, it's
We'll
if
get it
you,
out
if
there
you
for you. Make sure you're sending us your stuff. We want to promote you guys. We know that there's a lot of derby going on, so make sure you're sending stuff our way.
definitely.
I'm not gonna lie, that this is a weird show for us in the sense that it's Thursday. I don't think we have an interview picked to replay, and we also don't have a guest. So you will at some point hear some combination of news and an interview. I don't know who it's going to be with,
Yeah.
um, but Cash will figure it out and certainly go from there. So I know we'll get to our weeks here in a minute.
Yeah.
Um, we had a fun day, well, we can just get to our weeks. I'm sorry. You go ahead and tell me.
Okay, so we did obviously record our weeks last week before last week's show, and I went live after we did our weeks. Had Hater Tot from Rock City Roller Derby in the studio. We talked about it's been a couple of years since Hater was on, so it's I think it's been a couple of years. How long have we been going in this building we're in
The
now?
last time she was on, just in general, was when what I think we did episode 200.
Yeah, but there was a time when you weren't there and she came up and it was promoting a Rock City event and it was in the new building we're in.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. So it might have been 2 years ago that we had Hater on last. So we caught up with Hater, talked about like what's going on with Rock City and like, the new blood, because there's a lot
Sure.
of it. There's a lot of it there. And then we had last weekend their first home game of the season against the Warren Wrecking Dolls. And funny story, before we started, I got there early and was setting up in the studio and everything. And Hater's like, "Is your trunk supposed to be open?" And it's like, you know me, I'm an idiot. I probably pushed my trunk button, and
I
I said, "Yeah."
definitely
I said, "I think I pushed my trunk button by accident a couple days ago. It finally worked its way free." And it's like, oh man, that's me right there in a nutshell. So, a funny way to start it out, but it was a good interview. We had a lot of fun, did some news. I probably got some news for this show too that I'll have to go tomorrow. We definitely have some scores from Dawn of the Derby and other things, but had two games. It was fun. Rock City has their own sound system that we neglected to use the last couple of years, and we decided to use it. And so it was a mystery whether it was going to everything was going to work, and it worked fine. I brought my wireless system with it too, made it a lot easier. And they also streamed too. And so,
Yeah,
uh,
I got to learn a thing or two about a thing or two so we can get that going for Flower City.
yeah, so we streamed and it came out very well.
Good.
Um, it's a one camera stream, I mean, it's much better when you can have multiple cameras like there was in
Sure.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They definitely had the multiple cameras going on, but I was helping them with that like the week before, just trying to get it going, and it was really a successful venture. And
Okay.
I also recorded it, but I did commentary with Mr. Salt for two games, and the second game was kind of a mashup, so I got to see we got to see
Yeah,
Cal. Cal played and did a very good job. It's the first time Kel's, I think, played on technically WFTDA. It wasn't a sanctioned game, but
that was Kelly's first WFTDA game. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Technically, it wasn't sanctioned, but it was at WFTDA. It was what I found out about the Warren team is that they played USARs for years, and so they're
sure.
still kind of new to the WFTDA rules. And so there's some moments that there was like fast derby going on, the USAR style, and it was like it didn't dawn on me until it's like after rewatching it, it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. They had competed in USARs for many years and then moved up, but it was a fun game. It was Rock City really shone, I guess, shown. I don't know.
I think
Uh,
they shined.
they had a great game, and I've never seen them score more points in my life in a game.
Sure. What was the score? A lot to a little?
It's like, yeah, 400 to like 100, I think, something like that.
Right. We got
Yeah.
beat pretty bad like that ourselves this weekend. Good for them for winning.
Yeah, and it was fun, and it was nice to see everybody. It was I love catching up. I went out full suit this time when I was out there. I don't usually go the full suit. I figure it's home opener, and it was like we're in a new place, and it was a great crowd.
It's
Um,
good.
The place was packed. We did, we got to promote everything. So I'm hoping people who saw that are going to come out to May 31st for the Fear game against Cleveland, as well as the juniors games that are before that. So, but it was, you don't need, I think, it was a good crowd. I don't think you need a gigantic crowd in that place because it really is packed in there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's tight quarters, and then it doesn't necessarily like have anywhere to go, so the sound is rough. It's just a big box that kind of traps the sound in there too. So
Yeah, yeah. So I worry about that as an announcer, but I did do some testing, walked
yeah,
around the place with the mics and stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that was and that was Saturday, and it was like, it was nice, getting number one out of the way for Rock City. I'm looking forward to because then it's a Fear and the juniors, and then a week later it's Rock City again, and they're
yeah,
playing.
they're cranking out the home games this year. It's pretty wild. They have like 5 different events. It's crazy. Good for them.
Yeah, so it was but that was a lot of fun. Beyond that, this week's been very crazy. It's getting close to the end of the year. There's a lot of like testing going on, and and I mentioned something about the weather earlier. We have this great event that we do every year in our school called Arts Fest, and it'll be this Friday. It's actually tomorrow, and what
I
it
see.
is.
Don't you have to like cook hamburgers and hot dogs for everybody?
Yeah, I'm cooking for the whole school. So I had to go out and buy everything and set things, have everything set up to, make sure that things are dropped off and
They
stuff
don't
like
make
that.
you pay for it though, do they? Like they reimburse you for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do have an account with money in it, but it's a fundraiser. So whatever we make, we keep. And I made T-shirts for the kids on a special, just for the kids, not to sell or anything. And so we have special T-shirts that we're all going to be wearing tomorrow. And
Very cool.
yeah, it's like, it's one time we all get together and I make them work and it's like make them do things. And it's like, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm sure by the end of tomorrow I will be freaking, exhausted and ready to sleep. But but the weather has put a crimp into it because usually it's outside, and we've announced as of this morning that it's inside. So it changes how we do things.
Sure.
So I'll be out cooking in the rain with a couple of kids, and it's hopefully it's supposed to be cold and rainy tomorrow. Yay! What's new?
Yeah,
Um, and we get the long weekend following, which is great, but not if it's going to be cold and rainy the whole weekend too. So I'm hoping it's not, but it's like, who knows? They say it's going to be at least, 40%, 10%, whatever in the next few days. So beyond that, that's about the week. It's like we're coming to the end of the school year and I can't get here quick enough. I'm looking forward to having quietness and getting to do things, in my office where I'm not, being constantly asked to do things by students and stuff. But not that I don't mind doing that. It's my job, but it's always a benefit to working in the summertime. Working for a school, everyone goes, "Oh, you got the whole summers off, don't you?" It's like, yeah, I wish. No, it's a 12-month job.
sure.
It's just nobody's there in the months in the summer. So beyond that, the excitement of my life. How about you? Let's hear about that dawn of the Derby.
Sure, man. Yeah, it was a reasonable weekend, I will say. Um, we lost all of our games and spent some time being down, but I will say we came in as the lowest ranked team. We knew it was going to be tough. We were also without Mike Drop. We didn't have all of our vets when we could have, in certain instances, and so on, and that's okay. I've really tried to focus on the fact that we played tough teams, many spots ahead of us in some cases. Like, I think Ray City is actually like 17 spots ahead of us, 17 or 15 to 17. I'm unsure of where, because I think they're 10th or 12th in the MRDA. I can't remember which one, but yeah, they're like almost on the opposite end of the list compared to us. So it's you gotta take it with perspective and kind of look at it that way. Um, but no, it was a decent drive down. We drove down Friday. I took the day. We wanted to get there because Saturday we had the first game. Um, Friday night was fine. It was chill for the most part. We didn't do a whole ton. As we knew, we had to get to the venue pretty early the next day. I believe we just had dinner with the Rads. Quiet early night. Ended up back at the hotel, went to bed pretty early. Um, Hung out, each night we hung out a little bit. Certain people hung out. Um, it was good. We all made it to the arena Saturday morning pretty reasonably. And that's sort of when like our day, I don't want to say fell apart, but it didn't start off with a bang. As the floor was not great. It sounds like they keep the air conditioning on through the night. Um, then it leads to some moisture on the track, which makes it really hard to put tape down.
Is that why it took so long? Because it was like it had a start time at like 9, and you guys didn't really start till much later. So
Yeah, it was like 10:30 probably. I don't know. Yeah, like 10:30 by the time we actually got the first game going. Um, I will say, really no fault of their own, short of getting in there. And I can't even say the night before they tried. They tried to put the track down the night before. It was wet then, you know what I mean? So it gets wet with the air conditioning and so on. I will say it was um, once we got on there and once they had finally got everything laid down and cleaned up, they were like hitting spots with like paint thinner. I forget exactly what they were using, but basically it was like really drying up the floor, kind of making it tacky, and we made it work. And it actually ended up being okay, much better than we all thought. Originally, we were all like really, really nervous because we couldn't push. There was like we couldn't put our toe stops down. We couldn't push. It was brutal. So we like at one point we were like kind of concerned if we were even going to really get the day started or what was going to happen. Um, Again, kudos to Pittsburgh for like sorting it out and making it happen. Once they got it sorted out, it moved pretty quick and so on. Day two was all on schedule, but I will say we played Austin. We love playing Austin. They're a fun team. They kick our butts pretty regularly. I think this time it was by 200, where last time it was like 100. So they strengthened the spread a little bit. Um, Certainly had our number. It's tough though. We're playing against Freight Train, who's Team USA. We're playing against Sharknado, who's won speed skating gold medals. We're playing against um, just X, Y, and Z. I could go on, but they have such a really talented team. Um, and it's also really cool because there was like 40 to 50 people who we've had on the show, some of which multiple times. But it's always great to just kind of at any point look out onto the track or look out into the stands and see somebody that you've had great conversation with. So that was really cool as well. We played Pittsburgh second, and I will say this is when I got a little poopy pants about the whole weekend. Um, we did not play particularly well. I think it was the whole like hurry up and wait. We had been awake since like 7:30. Some of us much earlier. We got to the venue around 7:30 kind of thing. So we had just a tough time getting started. Then we were late by the time the track situation got sorted out. So yeah, it just wasn't our finest game. We felt a little bit, to me at least, I just think, we could look at every one of us and say, like, here's where you could have done better. Here's where you could have done better. It just was not your finest effort as a team. I there were a couple of times that I had gotten like just straight up lost. There was too much happening. And like I didn't know what to do next. In the first game, actually, I had gotten sick because of the meds that I'm on. So I ended up throwing up. I did make it to the garbage can this time and not puke on the floor like I did in Cleveland. But yeah, just a couple of tough teams, and then to have everything shake out how it did and have Saturday end with like almost like I don't know, maybe a 300-point loss to Pittsburgh, which is a team we regularly used to beat. No disrespect to them. I understand that the Undead are different than Pittsburgh East Roller Villains were. But we've had a great rivalry with them over the years, and at least always kept it competitive. And this game just was not. It was a lot to a little. So they had our numbers and kicked our butts, and they certainly, um, you know, did well. I will say it was a tough game for me and the first time I've ever had to play sanctioned against Rad, and I did not love it. Obviously, he's a very skilled skater,
Yeah.
somebody who I love quite a bit. That was a little bit tough as well. And then on top of it, the announcers would not stop saying nice things about me and Anderson and Double N and stuff like that. So it was just a really emotional game for me. I had already gotten sick in the first game. I was just tired in the second game. So Saturday was even a chill day. We didn't really do too much of anything. We stuck around the venue a little bit, but ultimately just kind of ended up getting pizza and hanging out at the hotel. We ordered a couple of sheet pizzas and just hung out in the hotel lobby and just talked for a bit. Another chill night. Um, Good times. And I lost my voice, a lot of yelling, a lot of shouting and stuff. So bear with me.
Yeah.
Um, but Sunday, I think even though the score didn't necessarily reflect that, and we were also missing two of our vets on Sunday because Hammer and M went back to Buffalo to play the home games that were going on back in Buffalo, the
Play.
playoff, Queen
Yeah.
City playoffs.
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm a little butthurt, but I get it. Whatever. But we played pretty well given the fact that we had a couple less vets that game, and they were the best team that we had played that weekend. So it was definitely tough, but it's a learning experience. There's a lot to look at and be happy about too. I could also, while I could say we all could have done better, I think there's individual moments of greatness as well. There was a really awesome particular moment where like Tim came out of the penalty box, or Rocky, one of our newer skaters, came out of the penalty box and like got right back into the action, got in front of the jammer, put a plow stop on, and slowed him down. And it was like just like a really beautiful play. Dang ended up winning most valuable jammer for our team for the weekend. Who that was Dang's first experience playing MRDA. So there's just really a lot of really great bright spots that we could focus on
I
too.
did see Dang going up 1-on-1 with Freight Train and
She
getting the
scored
lead.
points on Freight Train. She got lead and scored points on Freight Train.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
In a
great.
million years, if you asked her if that would ever be possible, she would have told you no. But we've encouraged and supported and like go do the thing. You can do it, and she did great and it was amazing. So, while I could say I had a crappy game all three games and I got sick and I missed a fair amount of game one, or, I played really poorly and was lackadaisical in game two, I had a pretty good attitude all weekend and really supported our team. And, while it wasn't great and we didn't win, Rocky got a lot of really good experience and didn't fall out. Brandon got some really great experience and got to like level up his game. Dang got to show off her skills in her first MRDA weekend. So yeah, there's just a lot to be proud of as well.
Yeah.
Um,
There's positives you can take from this for sure,
100%, 100%.
I have one
Um,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Why I saw the concussion, did they played the aftershocks and there was a 100-0 score, so I assume that's a forfeit?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any particular reason? Did they have injuries or something?
It, it depends on who you ask. And
Yeah.
that's sort of all I'll say. They'll tell you one thing. People not on the aftershocks will tell you a different thing.
Okay.
Um, in the past, in situations such as this, even with 12 players, they are a talented 12 and have a great team in the aftershock. Um, According to them, they did not feel comfortable, and that's a valid reason. A lot of people would look at situations like that and think they were protecting points in their rankings, which is completely valid.
Yeah.
We can't say one way or another. That was an option that they had made, and yeah, that's fine. It was very funny. Concussion at the end of the day was just sort of going around like, "Hey, do you guys want to play a game?" And we were like, "No, we absolutely do not. No, we're not going to do that. No." Yeah, that was the end of game one, or the end of day one, rather. Yeah. So again, completely valid. I I have some friends on the aftershocks. Um, Great to see them. Good to see them play. They did well. I have no strong feelings about it, but I will say I'm glad that my team, given any circumstance, really has never forfeited a game.
Let me ask you, was it like in the second half of the game it happened, or did we get some of the game, or
No,
did
they
we?
didn't play the game at all.
Oh, they didn't play it at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Well,
Very valid question. Yeah. Again, just depend on who you ask. So,
I got
uh,
you.
it's been a regular week. Otherwise, I actually made it through the weekend pretty okay. On top of all the good things that we can take away, our team did mostly make it back healthy, safe and sound, no real injuries. Nobody really got too terribly injured at all this weekend, which was great. I'm not saying there's not like little bumps and bruises or sprains even, but there were no ambulances or anything like that. So knock on wood, everybody's doing good. Um, we met out at Swillburger tonight to flyer a little bit, which was cool. We do have our game coming up at the Dome Arena on 5:31. We've got the juniors kicking the day off at 1:30, and then again at 2:30. Then right at 4, Flower City Roller Derby is going to take on Cleveland Guardians Roller Derby. Ooh, excuse me, and what is likely going to be our last sanctioned game of the year, locally at least. Don't hold me to that. We might schedule more, we might not, but you should come check it out if you're in the Rochester area. So yeah, come check that out. 5:31 at the Dome, starting at around 1:30. It's going to be a great day. We've got a bunch of derby coming up. Um, I have a MRI scheduled for Sunday, which is good. I've been waiting for this for quite some time now. Finally got an MRI scheduled. Um, the good and bad news, I guess, is I don't see the ortho until the 4th of June. So got a little bit of time after the game to wait, but we will make it happen. And I'm excited to get some information, get some results, and hopefully get some relief on this pain. So I don't know. It was overall a really good weekend. Like I said, a lot to learn from. There's a fair amount to be happy about too. And I hope, people feel good about some of what they did. We could have done better. It could have been a whole heck of a lot worse. And keep in mind that we were coming in as the lowest ranked team out of the whole event. So
You mentioned the one thing too. Congrats to Mike Drop and his wife for their new addition, right?
yeah, yeah, sure, absolutely. That's yeah, huge. I know we're pretty excited. Myself, Double Adam, we're a little bit older, and they also a little bit older, and it'll be great to have some babies who can be friends. I think that'll be cool. So
Yeah.
we're really excited to have two young children kind of be able to grow up together. So kudos, mazel tov, all that good stuff. Lots of love to everybody.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and we'll hit a commercial. Cash is going to come back with either an in-person interview or a recorded one. He'll probably get to some news, even though we did talk quite a bit on the week. So we'll see how it goes. I love you guys. Thank you for being patient, man. I'm not going to lie. All this back pain. I'm not sure how much derby I have left. I'll talk to you a bit more privately, but I'm just sort of tired and feeling poopy, and I need to be able to take care of my son
Yeah. Yeah.
and move and walk around. And I'm just trying to kind of wrap this up and do things on my own time and on my own schedule. I love you. I love doing the show. Like I said, this weekend it was probably like 40 to 50 different guests that we've had on the show. Freight Train, Sharknado, Diamond, Stretch, Grimace, Kid, um, and
I
just Tot, Omi,
yeah.
those are just like 10 people off the top real quick. You know what I mean? Really cool, really quite an honor. I'm just tired and I don't know how much more I have left. So I appreciate everybody bearing with me. I know these shows have been interesting to say the least. I know we did like 500 shows in a row and then it just sort of like fell off after that. But thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Cashman.
Well, thank you,
Go
Chris.
ahead.
You know I love you, brother, and I know when you need time, you take it. You know.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Cash here. We're live just for half of the show again. So if you're on Facebook Live, you've been watching for the last 30 minutes. I will say Ziggy Scarguts, right? Scarguts is still a last name, right?
Still my last name.
There you go. Do you really ever use that?
No, I don't think anybody ever uses my last name.
Yeah, I mean, we'll call Ziggy Ziggy. Then.
Yeah.
Okay, Zig, that works. So, hey, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, we talked a lot in the last segment with Chris about the games that went on and stuff last week here, but we haven't had you on in a while, and I always like, I'm a man of very short-term memory, so you got to tell me, how did you get your avenue into becoming, playing roller derby and Rock City roller derby? How did that happen? Did you get kidnapped? They put like a pillowcase over your head and bonk you on the head.
Honestly, given like how my life goes, probably that would be the story, but it's not.
No.
It's actually short and sweet. I moved back here from Salem, Massachusetts, and I was bored and I had no friends because all my friends were in college or like moved away after college.
Okay.
So I literally put into Google things to do in Rochester, and Rock City Roller Derby popped up, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm so about it.
Rock City Roller Derby shows up as things to do. It's like, or have done to you, as someone would say. It's like,
There's no warning label.
Yeah. So very cool. So and then so that led to the boot camp.
First one out of COVID.
Yeah. That was that's one of the only ones I participated in mostly. So. And when you were going through that, you were like, "How are you feeling about the physicality of roller derby and actually doing it?"
At that point,
you want to pull the mic just a little bit closer?
Yeah.
There we go. I figured out which one it was. It only took me a few minutes. So.
At that point, I felt a little bit like a Bambi, like on skates. But I had recreational skated before, but just for funsies. But I played a lot of sports throughout grade school and a little bit of sports in college, so the athleticism part never really went away. It was just the trying to learn how to put wheelie shoes on and use those.
Do that thing.
That thing,
I know. When you joined the league, you like jumped in full force. You like, if that's a pool, you just went, you dove in and didn't know where you were getting to. What was it? You became immersed in it, as they say.
Very immersed, very quickly.
It's overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah. But I wanted to I'm very much the type of person that jumps in and tries to do all the things. So I gave it a shot and tried to see what happened.
You have an interesting story because you did get voted president of Rock City, and on I believe the same day that we all found out, what happened?
I broke my leg.
Yeah.
That was I went to practice and we were doing voting.
Yeah.
I was running for president and we were in the practice and my wheels got locked between two people and I just kind of gumbied backwards and was headed straight to the hospital. And while I was being told that I was going in for emergency surgery in the morning, I was also getting text messages of, "Hey, congrats, you're the president now." I'm like, "Oh, great," but my leg is broken.
Yeah, it's pointing in the wrong direction.
My foot was not where it was supposed to be.
Oh, man. I remember because it was like, is it that bad? I mean, yeah, there was a rash of that, in that first boot camp.
Yeah.
I think you guys should have a club or
the
something.
Ankle curse.
Yeah, you should have a club.
Literally.
There's at least 4 of you, I think.
I think kind of like back to back to back kind of thing.
It's a shame because it was like, as we were coaches and as we're questioning, is it something we're doing? I mean, it's like, we're not doing correctly. And it was just fluke. I mean,
it was just a really freak thing that happened.
Yeah, just the bunches that happened. We had Stitches on, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Stitches was one of the ones that had that issue as well.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Jody Cook too. Yeah. So it was a lot, but it was a shame and actually work at too.
Yeah.
So you should have a club. You gotta get tattoos or something.
We'll just start a home league of all the ankle breakers.
Yeah. there
we go. That's our name, the ankle breakers.
All right, that's making light of something that no one was happy about happening. So, But so let's talk a little about you. You were like, you were super excited, and you were totally in, and you were voted president.
Yeah.
And then you had an injury, but you still did the president thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I stuck with it, and I, Slosh was my vice president, and we were the second group of board members to come out of COVID. The board before that stuck through COVID, they really, painted the path for us, and we all, right after we took up everything, and we kind of just tried to figure everything out and learn, and we were trying a lot of new things, a lot of different ways to, do derby, and like promote ourselves and stuff, and so it was a lot of work, but I will say, I learned a lot.
That's cool. I was just thinking, we had Hader on last week and then you on this week, so it's like the ex-president.
We've just got the presidents going in.
Let's get another ex-president after you.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about that until you mentioned it. But so as president, was it what you expected? I mean, how did it go? I mean, was it? Because, you don't know it until all of a sudden everyone's texting you and, you're getting messages from every direction. So,
yeah.
Was it overwhelming a little bit? Or
it was pretty overwhelming. I mean, I just want to put it into perspective that, like, I was brand new to Derby.
Yeah.
I was, like, a year into Derby when I told myself, I want to be president. That's crazy for somebody to do. I barely knew Derby.
That's why it seems like you jumped in,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm all in, I'm ready to go. So you're still here though. So
I'm still here.
Some people that might have said, maybe Derby's not for me, but I'm glad that you're still here. So
it was hard, but I learned a lot, and there was a lot of trial and error. And I'm very thankful for Slosh being my vice president. She's now in my phone as my right-hand person, and she'll always be that because, she's super, super helpful. Yeah. But I will say the best thing that I ever said was, I'm so glad I broke my leg while I was president, because I don't think I could have done Derby and president.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, you were focused on healing, so, sometimes you don't have to be cognizant of that, but, so that was, and after 1 year, like, I don't know about another year of this, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I think it's just not for me. Like, I love being a part of the league, and I love doing all the things, but I felt like president wasn't my position.
No, I get that 100%, because it's like, I've dabbled with going in for, like, being elected a position a few times, and I've never got elected yet. So maybe that's a good thing, I know that the meetings, I remember I used to go to half those meetings anyways when it was like at, around the corner after practice and stuff. So, but yeah, I thought, maybe I'll try again someday, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have as much time, but so and then suddenly you got some of your life back after you stopped being president.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
After I was president, I did, while I was healing still and taking some time to just, figure me out and figure out, like, life in grad school, because I was in grad school at the time,
that's
too.
Right. And you moved, like, 6 times when you were
a
broken,
lot.
right?
I moved so much.
Yeah.
I, took 2 years off, actually, from Derby, and I'm just getting back into it. I think January was when I started, but, I keep coming back. Keep crawling
you were
back.
Still around.
I was still around.
Yeah.
I just wasn't doing anything.
Yeah. So I'm surprised I didn't grab you and make you announce at some point or not.
I know.
It's like
I was
tried
there.
to do that before. That first time I skated in that scrimmage.
Oh my gosh, me and Double N. I was so nervous.
Yeah, that was it's like. I'll tell you one thing. I now understand the aspect of the skaters never listen to the announcers because they usually can't hear them because everything else is going on around them, But So cool. So you just mentioned you came back.
Yeah.
You've come back on skates.
Yep.
And is it like starting over a little bit, or do you feel like you had a little bit? You had a little bit of an idea, like the skills and everything,
I knew what the skills were. I knew what to do. It was re-implementing them, and I have a plate and 7 screws going down my leg, and then I have a piece of metal that goes across my ankle to hold my foot where it is because I don't have a ligament. So it's a lot of relearning how to actually gain mobility
Yeah.
to do the steps. Like I know how to do them, it's just I can't implement it, or I'm trying to relearn how to implement it.
Yeah, so you have like you have a lot of so you have probably benefits. You're like bionic now. Yeah.
Just a little bionic.
A little bionic, you know. Does it go?
Some days it feels like that.
So you started again in January, but it couldn't have been like when you started at boot camp because you had some experience under your belt.
Yeah.
So how's it been going since then? You know, I mean, you mentioned last night you were working scrimmage, but there was how do you feel it's going so far?
I think it's going really well. Honestly, I feel like I'm a lot more confident coming back.
Yeah.
Which it's great. I don't know if it's because I just knew some derby prior, or it's just I just feel better.
Does transitions come back easier now that you know now it's been a while, and then after you coming back, it's like, oh yeah, I remember how to do that.
Actually, it was kind of hard.
Oh really? I think transitions.
My brain kind of forgot how to do transitions,
Yeah.
but no, they're fine. I mean, I'm almost done passing my MSRs finally. I've got about like 4 more skills, and I've got two big goals: pass my MSRs and to play in Fresh and Furious.
There you go, and who knows? I mean, there's a slew of games coming up locally here still too, and I do want to mention that. So you did get back into playing and everything, but you also took on what is technically your title now?
Social media chair.
Social media chair, and now you've done things different than social media than I've seen with other people. You know, you're doing it's. I think that what it is a style of like not letting people forget what's going on with this team by sending things out a lot.
Yeah.
I mean more than daily. You know,
Yeah.
multiple times daily. So. Have you had experience with that stuff before coming into this, like running like a team social media? And it's because this is a little bit more. It's more of a science now than it used to be when we first started years ago. Because you really, the way you do it, and the way you see like the increase of the crowd, and like the the things that make people come to your stuff. I'm sure the numbers have gone up, and I think it may have. You could even have said maybe last weekend that there was. Some of the results of all your social media work really helped put a few more people in that place.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away by, I didn't get to go to the game, but I got to watch it on the live stream, and I was just blown away by the amount of people that were there. I did have a little bit, I mean, so when the position came up for, having somebody apply to it, Slosh had reached out to me, and she's like, dude, you're annoying on Facebook in the best way possible.
Oh, yes.
I'm annoying on social media.
Certainly.
I post all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, why not, do it for the league? And I said, sure, why not? It's not anything that I have to consciously think about all the time. And I did run social media when I was interning during grad school. I ran social media with a committee at Brockport. And so that was really kind of my only other experience, but I do have like multiple different Instagram pages. Like I had one for my photography at one point, I had one for the books that I read, and so it's just been getting like I've been doing it so much that I kind of just was so used to it. But there's definitely a method to my madness. Like I plan a lot. I have a lot of calendars and checkoffs and things, and Ope, our About Production chairs, they're amazing, and she's really helped me with that too. She kind of set up her own kind of version of a calendar that I follow on top of my own calendar. So my whole goal was to make us so annoying that people don't forget about us.
Sure. Well, I mean, you're integrating like videos into the social media as well, and that's. And I mean, have you seen this other places? Do you ever like go and look at other people and what they do with some of the successful sites on, successful derby teams out there? And they're always like, pinching you to remind you that they're there. So maybe like, something, and it's not always the same either. It could be like, I'm the worst social media manager when it comes to like my wrestling show or this. And I apologize for anybody who follows this. What I do is, the biggest thing I do is I go and steal articles and from all over the world and put them in the, so people can see derby articles. You know? But it's like beyond that, I'm not that dynamic with social media, and I will respond though. But I think you've been doing a fantastic job, and it's like
And it's fun, like the video you did, the video, and just having themes for, I think, every game. It's like we had themes in the past, but we didn't know about most of them, I think.
Until very close.
Yeah. So then it's like when the poster came out, then it's like, okay, we have a theme, but now we know about all the themes this year and everything. And so because I thought I heard something about a tug of war with rugby players. I don't know what that was.
So our next game, Rock the Block, it's very much, block party vibes. So we're going to have, if I remember correctly, we're going to have cornhole games and like various long games. But we're also doing a halftime tug of war against the Rochester Renegades.
Oh, wow. We got these. Some of your favorites, maybe?
Some of my, actually, a couple people that I went to college with that I actually played with for a little bit, so.
Well, that's not fair. I gotta let me be a part of the team.
I said I had to stay out of it because there's too many people that I love, and I
got you.
I can't pick.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, am I hearing correctly? It's like, we were. I agree. The organization after last weekend was really, really good, and definitely I was getting checked up on a bit to make sure everything was cool, and that was really cool. It's good because it's like I've been in some situations where bout production is non-existent, and this definitely was not to say it's always a challenge, okay? It's like, but this was good. This definitely worked out well. But so I've got that coming on. I can't remember all the themes for the rest of the year, but they all have a different theme. Yep. And there's one game a month, and it's very cool. And it worked out really great. But I noticed, like, the crowd, just the size of the crowd. And I'm not, for some reason, the Dome always had some magic whenever we played there. And the Dome is part of this building, but this is Minette Hall. So, but still, there's still some sort of magic.
Just sprinkles a little bit.
Yeah, it's pixie dust or something, But I thought that, I think that, and it was, and the crowd was lively, and it was like oohing and awing, and I heard definitely a couple of verbal oohs, from the crowd.
It was so fun hearing it on the stream. Like it was just so exciting. I felt like I was there, honestly.
Yeah, you were. You saw what a lot of people, 100 people were seeing it on the stream. So I think that's really cool, and that worked out. So you've got some big plans coming up in social media. Anything crazy in the next? I mean, you got to think about before this game. You guys were on Channel 10 here in town. They did, and then some people were over visiting the Wheeze, and he plugged them as well. And it's like, so getting people out there and about, it's always an important thing. And being public, doing the parades, obviously, and we had a lot of people show up for the Lilac Parade, which it's not always the case every year. So there's so I think it's it's kind of feeling like a renaissance a little bit with and
I feel like we're really coming back, and we said this year that our biggest goal is to get back into the community, and I think we're really, really trying and working hard to do that and make a presence.
Yeah, there's events going on at the public market, at the Irondequoit Public Market. Yeah. There's events going on. I mean, I'm going to be bartending at the Red Wings game. I like doing it at least once or twice every summer. It's fun to pour beer and seeing people I know come in. They go, oh, you're... Yes, it's a fundraiser, and so you kind of guilt them into putting a little bit more money in the till there. So it was, but that's super cool. So, what's your dream for this season? What's going to happen by the end of it? Say, is he going to be in the roster? And I mean, that's definitely a benefit. But how do you feel? The way it's going now, it started off like with a bang already. So.
I think honestly, for me, like my goal is to pass my MSRs and to get through fresh, and then whatever comes. After that comes after that. I've really honed in on the social media stuff, and I just want to keep picking away at it and keep it going. And
you do some innovative stuff, so I think that's pretty cool. So it's like it's tough to sometimes be innovative. It's like how can we do something different? You do something crazy. I like I've seen. We played around with videos in the past. I remember doing when we were shut down in COVID, we did like a fear what everyone's doing, and it's like everyone sent videos to me, and I put them together and made like a nice little video of everyone doing weird things.
Well, you participated in the thing I'm trying to implement starting next month.
Oh yeah, so we'll see if I show up.
You will.
It's I'm a ham, so it's like I like it's fun to get out there. I love it. It was just I felt so good after. last weekend, it was like everything just worked well, and it's like that's a heck of a start. And so the next one's June 7th, folks, here at the Minette Hall Dome Arena. If you want to go, you definitely do not want to miss it. That's for sure. There's next not this weekend, but the following weekend we got the Fear and the Juniors, and then we've got Rock City the following weekend for that. So we're getting, if you're in a derby or you even want to check it out, come on down, check it out. You definitely don't want to miss it. It's always a blast. And I tried to. I did it again this past weekend. I did my survey. Okay, who here has never seen Derby? And it's a smaller number, so it was like a smaller number. So it's like, oh, okay. So I don't have to explain stuff, though we still work stuff in. Just I don't know how the sounds in there, so I'm not really sure. I hear it, and then I walk up to the middle, and I hear myself talking, and it's definitely audible, but I don't know about on the other side of the place, because it's a big tin building, So,
it's a big garage.
Well, I want to thank you for coming up and joining me this week. I'm excited. It sounds like you've had such a wild ride to this point, and it's like, and you're happy doing what you're doing, and that's great. And you're back skating, and you're back, all in on Derby again. So that's very cool. And it didn't seem like you were gone really that long. So
no.
I don't, I still see it all the games and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like me too. Someday I'll retire, and when that happens,
are we really retiring?
Yeah, I'm believe me, in chronological age, I'm closer than anybody I know. So I'm gonna do some news, then we're gonna get out of here real quick. Some scores from last week. Do not have Rock Cities on here because it wasn't one of the closest bouts, but we had closest bouts. We had the Supernovas losing to Inland Empire, Quad de Paris losing to DCCLM. We had Long Island winning 173 to 166, celebrating 20 years of Long Island Roller Derby. And I'd love to bring them up here. That'd be a lot of fun. We had the Supernovas beating Pikes Peak, and that was 118 to 104. It's a tight game. These are all within 16 points. These games. There was one that was 2, which is enough to give you a heart attack. And we had Birmingham beat Norfolk 189 to 173. Those are most of the biggest upsets. They're actually the Rock Villains beating the Fallouts 202 to 119. Burning River losing to Cornfed 187 to 77 was one of the biggest upsets of the weekend. And so the closest predictions this weekend don't have a lot of games. It's Memorial Day weekend, I mean, there are some, but they're not in the United States. I've got on my list here. We've got Helsinki at London, and actually London's given the big advantage. They said London's going to win by a lot. Then we have London playing Crime City. Crime City's picked to beat London by a lot. And Crime City will be hosting the championships next year for WFTDA. And then Helsinki at Crime City, and of course Crime City's picked to win that by a lot. Those are all the bouts to watch. I'm sure there's some going on here in the United States. The only score I have from RD, and this is Flat Track Stats, so I steal. I talk about it every week. But the only one that's on Flat Track Stats was the Race City versus Flower City Fair. And that was under the closest bouts. So let me get to some of the games that are going on. Now, if I show you the closest bouts, it's like, look at the number there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. So, but they listen, that was a tough team, game. We have a much higher ranked team, so I definitely understand that. So Knoxville's first and only Flat Track Roller Derby League kicks off the 2025 season at the World's Fair Exhibition Hall. The Hard Knocks All-Stars compete against the Relentless Roller Derby of Greensboro. That is May 24th at 5 p.m. That's tomorrow. And it's Hard Knocks Brawlers versus Nashville Roller Derby at 7 p.m. So this is in Knoxville. You can go to hardknocksrollerderby.com for tickets. And they got a bunch of games coming up this year as well. We've got the doubleheader of games kicking off Roller Derby of the season for the Nipissing Roller Derby team playing Toronto's Hogtown at 2 p.m. on Saturday at the Berks Fall Arena. It's followed by 4 p.m. by a matchup between Hell's Bells from Georgina taking on Nickel City from Sudbury. I've never heard any of these teams, so that's definitely interesting. So check that out. We have, they're very excited. I'm guessing, I hear Toronto. I know Toronto teams, but that's definitely exciting. Oh, it's near Guelph, so that's where the Beaver Fever or your Show Us Your Tukes tournament is every year. So That's all about the news. All I got. I'm gonna play a song to get out of here. Thank you so much, Zippy, for coming on, and don't forget to come check out rockderby.com or any of the social medias for Rock City Roller Derby. You can see what Zippy is working on nowadays, and it's very cool stuff, man. Go check the video. You'll really like that. But on that note, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Woo!